I just watched RocknRolla with my stepdad because we were kind of on a Guy Ritchie kick. Even though I'm always on a Guy Ritchie kick.
Maybe not. Yeah.
Because we watched Lock, Stock, and Two Smoking Barrels, and then I'm like, oh, we should watch RocknRolla because that was like an underrated one. Like, I don't want to watch Snatch. I've seen it too many times. And
Yeah.
like Lock, Stock, and Snatch are like one and the same. You know what I mean? They kind of blend together.
Mm-hmm.
At the end of the day, like they're like the same kind of thing. But like RocknRolla is a different. I think also another movie where it's a more matured Guy Ritchie. He's not living on the streets anymore. He's like, he's rich. He's lived like the high life.
But
he's met a lot of different people.
Yeah, I mean, he's kind of like, post-divorce Madonna.
Yeah.
Like, had some flops after Revolver, like, trying to find his stride.
And the island or the getaway or whatever.
The what?
The getaway?
Yeah, the getaway, yeah. It's like Man from U.N.C.L.E. Is it pre-Sherlock Holmes, I believe?
Yeah, it's pre-Sherlock Holmes.
So it's like it's that weird in between phase where he's like, well, what the fuck am I doing? Like he has this like kind of life crisis, and I think he's maturing in that. And he's like coming in like maybe like 30, something like that. And like
he's probably like 40 at this point.
You think so?
Yeah, because he was like 30 when like Lock, Stock came out, and that was like 1998.
Oh
and
yeah.
RocknRolla was 2008, so he's like 40. He's probably like late 30s, 40s.
I thought he was pretty young when he made Lock, Stock. Like very young.
Yeah, I mean, he was probably like 28, 29.
Yeah.
Something like that.
It's
a lot of people like in like the late 28, 29, they like really have to feel like they have to prove themselves because like 30 is the marker, even though it's made up.
Yeah.
It's not really like a real thing. Like you can like...
Dude, your parents could lie to you about how old you are when you're a kid. And like you would never know how fucking old you are actually.
Yeah. But like you can 30 is that mark where you feel like you should be doing what you thought you would be doing when you like graduated college or some shit like that. Even though it's like totally inaccurate, and I think like a lot of directors like are like, I have to make a movie before I'm 30.
Yeah, a lot of directors and people in the industry are like, I have to do this before I'm 30.
Exactly. Like 30 is a big marker for people.
Yeah.
I don't know. Especially for
like you said, such bullshit.
Yeah.
But I do think in terms of movies...
But 30 is kind of like the age where directors like have their debut, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like a lot of them.
I do think in the movie industry and stuff, and like being on set, it is like very like taxing on the body, dude. Like it's a physical job. Like it's cool to watch it, you don't have to do anything when you're sitting in the theater watching a movie. But when you're out there making a movie, dude, there's fucking things flying left and right where you have to fucking move this light here. Let's reposition the camera. Oh, fuck. Like, we need to, like, get this person in a trailer. We gotta get them ready for this next shot. Let's go scout this other spot let's drive to this next location. Like, there's so much fucking shit going on. And, like, I'm surprised fucking Scorsese's the only one where I'm like, yeah, he's gonna do it till he dies. Because, like, it's so fucking taxing.
But it's like so much fun though.
It is so much fun. It's so much fun. But this is Guy Ritchie when he's trying to figure out, looking back on his life and looking where he's going and where he's maturing. This is not the gentleman matured Guy Ritchie. Yeah. This is got the grunge punk Guy Ritchie.
This is 10 years into his career,
Mm-hmm.
So he's probably like maybe going through a little bit of a crisis sometimes with the divorce and like who he thinks he's like doing some soul searching and stuff. And
yeah.
He's like a transition from like being a kid to that bridging that gap kind of like where he's at with this movie.
Yeah. And this is all just a very speculative, long way of us saying that this is Guy Ritchie's most underrated movie. This is such a fucking good movie.
Yeah, it's Guy Ritchie's most underrated movie. It's fun to watch and shit, and like all the characters, that everything you want, all the dialogue and stuff. And
so the parallel plot lines, just it's so like convoluted. It's so British gangster. It's got everything you want in it.
Yeah, I've watched RocknRolla a couple times now, and it's like such a fun movie to watch. Just like all the dialogue and stuff.
Yeah.
I think Guy Ritchie movies, you gotta watch them more than once sometimes, dude.
Yeah, definitely.
Like to really get a grasp of what's going on. And you got Gerard Butler, you got Idris Elba, Mark Strong,
Tom Hardy.
Oh yeah, dude, early Tom Hardy.
Yeah,
film.
very early Tom Hardy.
Yeah, and we also get this little Guy Ritchie's always doing some little gay thing in his movies.
Yeah.
He's always has some like gay shit going on in his movies. Like, which is fine, but it's like gay undertone going on.
Yeah.
In everything he does.
Yeah. Like, because like Tom Hardy.
And Tom Hardy's like a gay guy.
Yeah.
In this movie, which is really interesting to think about how Tom Hardy's career has developed, because you definitely see Tom Hardy as more of a masculine figure.
Yeah.
As he went on. And I think his debut role, Tom Hardy was in Layer Cake. It was like his debut with...
Yeah. He was one of the cocaine guys, yeah.
Yeah, Matthew Vaughn.
Yeah. You have like Tom Wilkinson, Thandiwe Newton.
Yeah, Thandiwe Newton.
Fucking...
My stepdad was like, oh, she's hot. Who is that? She's hot.
Toby Kebbell, who plays Johnny in it, dude. Johnny Quid.
Oh, we got Ari Gold, dude.
Dude, yeah, we have Jeremy Piven.
Yeah.
We have fucking Ludacris in it, dude. Yeah. Like, it's a great cast. It's such a good cast.
Toby Kebbell is good.
And I
really relate to that character a lot.
Yeah, dude. He's like... That's the best role I've seen that guy in. That guy is like... I haven't seen him in anything else, but like... that he fucking kills it in this movie. Oh my god. Yeah. He's so good.
No, he's a real dramatic actor.
Yeah. He's in Black Mirror.
Yeah, he's in Black Mirror. That's a fucked up episode.
Yeah, that's a really fucked up episode.
I hate that. This reminds me of like being in a relationship and just being jealous. And Gerard Butler, he's good at acting, but I don't feel like he's like more of a movie star type guy, whereas like he's not like I don't think he's like a classically trained like actor. Like Toby Kebbell is like an actual like actor.
Oh yeah, he comes from theater background. I know that.
Yeah.
But there's some great actors in this.
Idris Elba is so good. But I love, what's his name? Tom Wilkinson. Tom Wilkinson,
and then so good.
Yeah. Tom Wilkinson is every scene he's in with Mark Strong.
Yeah.
Them two together. Mark Strong is a real actor too, dude.
Yeah. Guy Ritchie blew up Mark Strong, like with Revolver. That was like when he got his start. And then this really he actually had like a real legit role in this, because I feel like he's the main character of this.
Mark Strong's the main character?
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of like in the middle of it all.
Yeah, he's the narrator.
It's definitely like an ensemble cast.
Yeah, but he's the Jason Statham to Snatch, like Mark Strong is to this.
Yeah. Are we gonna talk about what the movie's about?
Yeah, you go. You just watched it. Yeah.
I mean, it's an ensemble intertwining Guy Ritchie crime thriller, but this one's more high class because we're dealing with a lot of wealth that came in. In the late 2000s, a lot of wealth came into London, and they were building a lot of buildings, buildings that were technically zoning, going past zoning laws. They were allowed to build a bunch of buildings even though they weren't allowed to, but they did it anyway. So a lot of wealth came in, especially a lot of Russian wealth, a lot of oligarch wealth, and they started buying all these teams, like Chelsea and stuff. And now that's happening again with Saudi, the Arabians are buying out a bunch of shit in
that's true.
London and everything. But this is more about sort of more Russian oligarchy type shit going on in London. And this guy is trying to make this contractor, played by Tom Wilkinson, who's also a mob boss, is trying to make this deal with this really rich Russian oligarchy. And he has... he's a mob guy, so he's able to the Russian guy's trying to use this guy to build more buildings and stuff. They do a deal, make these buildings. That's kind of the setup of it, and he lends him a painting which you never see. You never see it. It's the case in Pulp Fiction. Yeah. But that this is a fucking amazing painting, right? Mm-hmm. Yeah, he lends him this painting, which then his lucky painting. This Russian guy's lucky painting, and he's gonna hold on to it while they figure out the deal and stuff. But then that painting gets stolen. Mm-hmm. The chaos ensues and you find out the painting was actually stolen by the mob boss Tom Wilkinson's adopted son, who was a rock star that apparently committed suicide, but he faked his suicide. Now he has his painting, and now Tom Wilkinson hired a bunch of people to try to find this painting so he can get it back to this Russian oligarch before it's too late. And that's kind of the MacGuffin of everything. And you have a bunch of ensemble intertwining storylines. It's so funny too, because you have all these intertwining storylines. Gerard Butler and Idris Elba, they're kind of in business with Tom Wilkinson, and so they pay him, right? And they want to do some kind of deal with him. Mm-hmm. Is that right?
He's like, they're definitely like kind of, they're not his underlings, but they're like nowhere near as high as him.
No, Gerard Butler and Idris Elba are kind of more like new to the game. They're trying to start their own they're trying to make their own buildings and build their own buildings. They're kind of, I think they're almost inching onto his territory.
Oh, okay.
And Mark Strong works for Tom Wilkinson.
Yeah.
But Gerard Butler and Idris Elba just happen to be involved in this. Like they get intertwined somehow.
Yeah.
But they're like kind of more of the salt of the earth gang kind of guys. Who
Okay, that's right. Yeah.
Hang out in the bars and just stuff and play pool. And...
What do they call them again? Like the boys or something? Or like...
Well, I know that Gerard Butler's name is 1-2.
Yeah, 1-2. I love that, dude.
Yeah, Gerard Butler's name was 1-2.
Handsome Bob.
Yeah, Handsome Bob.
Yeah.
Shit like that. It's like that's like the kind of the old Guy Ritchie meeting the new matured Guy Ritchie, you know.
I love that like Johnny Quid is just this anarchist, the son, the rock star son. He's just this anarchist that like, you know, there are intertwining stories and everything, but he's kind of the one that just like, you feel his presence, that he's like not intertwined, you know what I mean? Like he's kind of like paving his way for himself, and that's so badass, you know? And
he's dealing with his own fatherhood trauma.
Yeah, and he's an addict. He's like a huge addict.
Yeah, he's a junkie. He's a junkie, and he is the RocknRolla. Right?
Yeah,
isn't he the RocknRolla?
He is the RocknRolla. Yeah, that's what this movie's based off.
What is a RocknRolla?
It's just like from his philosophy perspective, it's like Johnny Rotten. It's like Sid Vicious. It's like going against the system. Fuck everything. Youth and die. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he's a cowboy. But he doesn't become... But the thing about RocknRolla, like, he is the RocknRolla, but he doesn't become a real RocknRolla until the end, right? Remember in the end, he's, like, sobers up, and he's like, now I can actually be a real RocknRolla. So what does that mean?
Is that what he says at the end?
Yeah.
I thought he said, like, I'm ready to make some fucking money or some shit like that.
No, he says... He's like, oh, I've given up everything except for these bastards. And he has his cigarettes, and he's like... Now it's time for me to be a real fucking RocknRolla. And then, like, the title comes up.
And it's like RocknRolla will be back.
Yeah, no, he'll be back in the real RocknRolla.
Yeah.
But I guess, like, a RocknRolla, it's like some cowboy type shit. But he was, like, a RocknRolla. And I definitely, like, really relate to that character a lot, honestly. Like,
he's badass.
He's kind of, like, very...
I loved him as a kid. I was like, in fucking middle school, I was like, he's the coolest fucking guy ever, dude.
Yeah. But now that we're, like, the same age as him in that movie, I kind of, like, can see the anarchy and the dismemberment in his mind and the drugs and, like, all of that. Like, being, like, 26, dude, it's, like, rough, bro.
Yeah.
It's like Taxi Driver type shit, bro.
Yeah.
Like, he's 26 in Taxi Driver.
Yeah.
I'm like, fuck. Like, Jesus Christ, dude.
Yeah. My favorite scene in this movie is where Gerard Butler, Idris Elba, and Tom Hardy getting chased during, like, the heist thing. That's such a good scene. Mm-hmm. Oh, my God. And I love that they, like, what is it? It's kind of like time-space memory aspect where it's, like, they get back and then they do a recalling of what happened, and then you see it. Yeah,
Gerard Butler, like, is, like, all beat up at, like, a dinner with Thandiwe Newton, and she's like, what happened to you? And then it's like a flashback of
it's so good.
All of that shit.
Also one of the best sex scenes ever.
Oh yeah, I love this little sex scene in there too.
Oh my God.
And then I love the bit where he's like, give him a slap, and he, like, slaps him. He's like, no, like a real, like, backhanded slap with the right hand, and he's like no, like show him how to do the slap. And he's slapping the same guy over and over again. Dude. Yeah, RocknRolla, you can say it's like his most underrated movie, but I think maybe Revolver might be his most underrated movie.
I don't like Revolver in that aspect where I like RocknRolla, like, hits the notes, it's based, you know. Revolver's a little too surreal for me. Those two are definitely his, like, least known. Where do you think RocknRolla, like, what are its shortcomings, you know? What do you think, like, why don't you think it's, like, up there with, like, Lock, Stock, and Snatch?
I don't know. It's just not maybe tonally as succinct or as clever, or as... The style isn't as succinct and driven into it. Mm-hmm. This one's more, like, has a little bit more of, like, a Hollywood feel to it, rather than the grittier street feel. And he's linking, like, different worlds. It's more, it's like, it's bigger, so therefore you lose, like, more, like, of that control, and that it's like And Gerard Butler is like, he's alright, yeah.
He's alright, yeah, but I feel like we spend a lot of time with the villain in this, whereas like I don't feel like we spend a lot of time with the villain. Jeremy Strong, he's kind of just on the side on Gentleman. Bricktop in like Snatch is just like on the side, you know. Like,
I love how in this show that we do, we talk about every Guy Ritchie movie besides the classics that people actually like, dude. Yeah. We just talk about like the other shit. We don't talk about anything. We don't talk about the ones that people actually like.
Yeah.
Like, dude.
Yeah.
Well,
we're getting there, dude. We're getting there.
Yeah. But I literally just watched Lock, Stock, and we could have talked about that, but dude, like I watched RocknRolla.
Yeah.
We don't need to talk about Lock, Stock, and Snatch. Everyone's talked about it. We talk about the Guy Ritchie movies that people love.
I love Lock, Stock, and Snatch.
I love those movies too. But like, I think it's more interesting to talk about. I'd rather talk about RocknRolla more. And honestly, I would rather talk about Revolver more than other movies because everyone knows them. Like they're good, whatever. But yeah.
Yeah, true.
We're the show that talks about the Guy Ritchie movies that no one sees.
Yeah. But we love him, dude. Like he's, I don't know. Next, we're gonna watch Man from U.N.C.L.E. and talk about that.
Yeah.
I think we spend a little too much time with Tom Wilkinson, not enough time with like some of the other characters to like form their opinions. I don't know. Yeah, I think there's definitely shortcomings of it. I think there's a lot of like really, really strong stuff here that people sleep on.
Yeah. Sure. It's definitely not as interesting. You're definitely not. And I think maybe the plot can be maybe also convoluted as well, right?
Yeah.
Like a lot going on. I guess like the Tom Hardy shit is like not that interesting.
Yeah.
It could have been a little more succinct and concise, but you know.
Yeah.
It definitely touches on everything. It's entertaining. It's fun to watch.
Yeah.
My stepdad like at first was like, "Oh no, I thought this was gonna be more like Snatch," and I was like, "No," but like just watch it, and he liked it.
Yeah. It is kind of like Snatch, though. I don't know.
It is like it's still in that same crime drama type shit, you know what I mean? Like it exists in that same sort of like feel as like The Gentleman, Snatch, and Lock, Stock, and Revolver. Isn't Revolver the crime?
I mean, yes. I mean, like you have like Mark Strong chasing him and shit, like just being like this fucking like badass assassin. You have like Ray Liotta, you know, like in the sense of being like a British crime. I wouldn't say it feels more like a Las Vegas crime. Like I don't know, like Las Vegas, like surreal, like chess movie.
We should talk about that one next, honestly. Like I would watch that again. And that's another movie you have to watch more than once to really get it, because you can't watch that movie once and just be like, you think that shit's retarded if you just watch it one time. Like, honestly, like he's really getting at something with the movie, with Revolver.
He has a clear vision that I don't think is executed to his fullest potential.
No, it's not. No. Yeah, he just has something to say about like everything. Like that you're like your own worst enemy, and that's really cool.
Yeah.
But I think he was I think he was still finding himself in that time.
Dude, he loves like making like he loves making a movie for the bros. He's such like a bro director.
But there's always
only like one or two females in his entire, like one or two women in his entire movie, you know?
Yeah, but he's a classy bro guy.
Yeah, he's definitely like, we're classy guys. But like
classy and bro, but like kind of like dirty, also boots on the ground. That's what I would say his first movies were. Yeah. Then you kind of get more like elevated, mainstream, glossier. But I think like his first movies were so punk rock to him, I don't even think he realized what he was even doing, bro. Like he was so young and like doing some punk rock shit.
He's a smart dude. Like I love his fucking work ethic and his dedication to like how he looks at life, and like with Covenant, dude. You know, like it comes through of like what it means to be like a man. You know, like Guy Ritchie, dude. Yeah, another Guy Ritchie in the logs. What can we say? Yeah. What can we say? We just have to put his face as the thumbnail this time, dude.
Yeah, it's funny about Guy Ritchie is that like no one really gives a like we're the ones who really give a fuck about him.
I know.